Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, as ever, Dan Potts. I'm with lead judges, and we thought we'd go a little bit early today, considering we've got a game tonight. We didn't really have time over the weekend to do a preview, so I said to Lee, why don't we jump on just before we head over to watch the game? Myself and Lee will be watching AFTV over at the watch along, so we thought we'd have a chat beforehand. Judge, how are you, mate? How was your weekend, mate?
How was my weekend? Still not the greatest. I'm going to be honest. Still still not got over Thursday, and then the result yesterday didn't go for us. But as I said before, it doesn't matter what they do. Really, it's all down to us today and what we've got to do tonight. And the more the game's getting closer, the more and more I'm getting nervous about it. But I've always said that the 4 points was key for me, and we've got a chance to nail it today. This is a massive game tonight, which we just got to win it. Do I think we win it? Yeah, I've got that confidence that we have. But I'm not going to lie that I'm going to be setting myself up for a massive disappointment if we don't. Massive disappointment. There's so many reasons why I need to win this game, and do you know what? I'm going to say this now. The less the important one is Champions League. You know what I mean? I'm not really that fussed about Champions League. Whether I mean from a supporters point of view, because I think it's about the money. But there's so many other things that are more important. That one, beating them to it, stopping them doing it. The fans that are on my case at the moment, like they're all just holding back. They've got the handbrake on in a minute, Dan, because they know that about this game. But I can tell you that now, if you've got Spurs mates or Spurs people that you know, if we don't win tonight, they'll be going full throttle on it, like, you know what I mean? So it's so important for so many reasons that we win this tonight. And that is my list, you know what I mean? Like, blah, 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 blah. And we was talking about it. Was it? I was talking to, no, funny enough, I was talking to my mate on the trader who happens to be a nice Tottenham fan, if I'll be honest. He's always never really give me a lot of stick, and I don't give him a lot of stick. But he turned around and said, if it was any other team but Arsenal or Spurs battling for the top four, it wouldn't be that much pressure tonight. You know, if we was playing Man United or Chelsea for the top four, I go, yeah, right, okay, no problems. We'll get it, we don't. But because it's Spurs, it really is it's just so much more riding on it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think what don't help is that these Tottenham fans seem to think it's all over. It's done and dusted. They've
No,
got
that's
the top
done.
four.
They think it's done.
They think it's done. They're all jumping for joy. They've told me that it's done. And as much as it could be, I think they seem to misunderstand that it's not in their hands, it's in our hands. So tonight's going to be difficult, don't get me wrong. And of course, Everton are fighting for their lives. I'd like to think by the time we play them that things may be different. But of course, we can't guarantee that either. But let's just concentrate on tonight, first of all, Lee. Newcastle are aside, and I can't lie, mate, they have been so good under Eddie Howe. They've been great since 2022. They've only lost to Liverpool and Man City at home. And I think statistically, there's only Liverpool and City that compete with them in terms of their wins, their stats, their goals, and the way they're playing. So this ain't going to be a walk in the park, and I can see why people might think we might slip up. I look at the 11 that we're potentially going to put out, and I'm going to ask you some questions about that in a minute and put up the team that I think it will be. But I can see why people might think this is a potential banana skin. It's not one that I'd expect to just rock up and take 3 points against. So, what's your thoughts going into St James's Park, mate? It's always a tough game to go, or a tough place to go.
Yeah, they're 14th in the league. We've got the tougher places this season than one, i.e. Chelsea, i.e. West Ham. You know what I mean? West Ham proved that how difficult game that was with the result yesterday, like, you know. So, listen, Liverpool and Chelsea have gone to West Ham and have come away with not wins. We've gone there and won. So for me, we just got to turn up today and produce the performance that we know that we can do. I will say this, two things. We know we played Tottenham on Thursday night, who are a better team than Newcastle, because the league don't lie. And for 20 minutes, we was far better side until we conceded a goal, and then we just capitulated. But in that 20 minutes, we did play really well. Now, did I think we should play like that? No, I felt that, again, Mikel got that a little bit wrong by playing a high line against them. I don't think there was no need for us to do that. we need to do it today and take a few risks. But I think, honestly, if we play to our ability tonight, play really, really well, keep the ball like we can, I think we've got enough. We've got enough. We've just got to defend. Somehow keep a clean sheet tonight. If we can keep a clean sheet, we'll win the game.
Let's talk a little bit about that defence then, because we saw Gabriel come off with a potential injury. We saw Ben White wasn't fit enough to play any part of the North London derby. There's rumours that if that is the case and we've got some struggles at the back tonight, that Tomiyasu may go centre-half. I've been told the rumours are that Gabriel's travelled and that Ben White is fit. So do you expect both of them to partner at the back tonight, Lee?
It's a difficult one where I expect it because you just don't know if it's mind games. Why has Gabriel gone up there if he's not playing it? It just seems a little bit weird to be doing that. You know, obviously he has travelled because some Arsenal fans put on Twitter showing him in a hotel that they're in. So, listen, I'll be very, very surprised if he's not playing if he's travelled. But it could be mind games. Why play mind games? I think, you know what I mean, at this stage of the season, I think if that's the case, that'd be ridiculous. Show your hand, as far as I'm concerned, because do you know what? You've got to go there with your chest pumped out and saying, right, this is what we're going to do and we're going to go for it. I think if Gabriel doesn't play, I'll be a little bit more worried about that. Like, do you know what I mean? Because if he's not fit, we should just go, right, well, he's not fit. It doesn't matter. We've got so-and-so. So I think I think that he'll play. I think now that it'll be Ben White and Gabriel and Tomiyasu, 3 of the 4 back 4. That is good enough to get us a result. You know, we've done it against Villa sort of performance. We haven't had a clean sheet since Villa, but we haven't had we've only had 2 of our 4 playing since. You know, like Holding's done okay in those few games, let himself completely down, of course, on the North London derby. But ultimately, if we can get Ben White, Gabriel and Tomiyasu in the same setup, I'll be very, very pleased.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where the game is and isn't won. For me, Lee, I think this is all about wide men tonight, and I'm talking about for both sides. My fear is that they might be able to keep ours a little bit quieter than ours. I'd fancy Kieran Trippier and Target instead of Cedric and Tavares. So I'm kind of hoping that Tomiyasu plays at fullback and we do have Gabriel and White back so that perhaps Cedric or Tavares can play left back. Because St. Maximin is a very, very talented boy. Now, he doesn't really have any output, if I'm honest with you. Now, I've said that he'll probably score tonight, but he's not somebody who scores 15, 16 goals a season, but he's tricky and he's going to be a threat going forward. They have some other target men that are going to be a problem. I think Callum Wilson's back tonight from what I'm hearing up top. He's always been a target man and someone that knows where the goal is. Almiron is somebody who, again, doesn't really have the output, but again has some trickiness. Joe Linton, I think it's been a masterstroke from Eddie Howe putting Joe Linton into that midfield. I think he's been fantastic for them, and he's a player that I always thought had presence and some attributes as a footballer, but wasn't really one in front of goal that had much confidence in. But I must admit, since he's dropped into that attacking 8 role, he looks a hell of a lot better. Joe Willock is injured apparently and out for the rest of the season, which is good because I don't really want players coming back and scoring at the Arsenal. But they do have players that can cause problems, and I think for me the main one for them, and if you ask me you could have any player you wanted in a Newcastle side, who would you go for? It would be Bruno Guimaraes. I think he's the danger. I think he's the one that can boss that midfield, and Granit Xhaka and El Neni are going to have a good game tonight if they want to try and keep him quiet, because he really is the puppet master. He pulls all the strings in that midfield, so it is going to be a difficult game. Having said that, I do think we've got dangers. I do think we do. I think if we've got Martinelli firing on all cylinders like he has been in the last couple, then we'd like to see that continue. Again, like Maximan, not a player that scores week in, week out at the moment, Gabriel Martinelli. I think the last time he scored was Watford 10 games ago, which is a worry. So we need to see output. We need to see chances buried. He's had a few. He's put them over the bar. He's put them wide, or he's fluffed his lines of late. And we need to see that raised in his game and ironed out, because that is what's letting him down at the moment when people compare him to Saka and Smith Rowe. As for Saka, Lee, I wanted to ask you, does this kid look fit to you, mate? Because I worry about Saka at the moment and wonder if he might play a little bit of a bit part game tonight.
Well, listen, if he's not 100% fit, he don't play. I've had enough of this now. Like, you know, we've got Pepe who's 100% fit, and we've also got Smith Rowe 100% fit. So yeah, I'm not buying into that no more. Wasn't fit against Tottenham. Showed. I'll tell you that now. Absolutely showed. We see him walking onto the coach after the game, limping, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that if he's not quite right, he's on the bench. If he's not quite right, he doesn't start. we need to have players 100% fit today. And, you know, and that's not a criticism of Saka. Saka, if he's 100% fit, he plays on a normal game. The other thing is you take the risk for him now, you know, and then maybe rest him against Everton. But, you know, if we win tonight, Everton becomes massive as well. So, and one not to be taken lightly. So for me, you know, if he's not fit, he don't play. So, you know, he is a top player for us and very, very important. But ultimately, if he's not 100% fit, he's not as good as 100% fit Smith Rowe or 100% fit Pepe. It's as simple as that. Those two players have got to come in today, and if that's the case, and do the business. If anybody come in, I think it will be Smith Rowe. So we'll have to wait and see. So, but ultimately, I felt that a few players on Thursday didn't play as well as what they wanted to. I know we look back at it and say that, but from the substitutions, but I even felt in the first 20 minutes, even though we was playing well, there was a couple of not so great performances. But Saka over the 90 minutes didn't look right. But you can't really go too much into it because we was down to 10 men for quite a bit of that. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm hoping that he is 100% fit and ready to go, because if he is, he's just top player.
Yeah, we need him, mate. We need him fit, and it's not quite the same without him. I do feel that he's our biggest threat and he's our gem. But if he ain't fit, mate, then I would rather see Smith Rowe come in. And if Saka can come on and do some damage, then that's fair play. Or the other way around, if we start and bring him off, then it's fine by me. Let's hope that we're 2-0 up and we have the pleasure of making some changes without any real pressure. But I doubt that to be the case. Let's talk a little bit about going into this game up top, because Eddie Nketiah of the last few games has scored some goals. Against Tottenham, I think he missed a couple of chances and again was difficult with 10 men. I didn't really see him performing to the standards that he has been in terms of his goal ratio. Do you have faith in Eddie that it will continue playing up front for the next couple of games and that it'll be what the answer? Or do you think that maybe we need to change it up a bit and Lacazette needs more minutes up top?
No, I think that in particularly in this game, you know what I mean. I think that this will suit Eddie's game. You know what I mean. If they push a higher line, we can get in behind, and I think this is Eddie's sort of game today. If I'll be honest, like, you know, if he plays well, then he starts against Everton. If he doesn't go well today, then you know you have to look to change it. I think at the end of it, he deserves another crack at it. He has scored a few goals in the last few games. But my word, he needs a couple tonight. If he gets a couple of chances tonight, he's got to take them. But I am judging him on the game on Thursday, because, you know, from an attacking point of view, those players were limited and he was like up against it. But still worked hard, still put in the shift. But he needs to score tonight. I think that he will get a chance tonight, and if he does get that chance, he has to take it. He has to.
Yeah, he does. Let's talk about Martin Ødegaard, Lee. I spoke to you at the Tottenham game and I said, like, when was the last time he scored? Now, don't get me wrong, I think he's been fantastic. Since 2022, he's really shut me up, because I was questioning him and saying, look, man, we need to look at some goal contributions, at least assists or goals here. And he started to do that around December, January time. And I thought, okay, and since then, he's been instrumental in midfield. Really good to watch, great technically. But I do need to see some goals. Every time I'm seeing him shoot, it's either a pass back to the keeper or he's preventing from shooting by just making that one extra too many passes. And I think we need to see him start to become a little bit more clinical. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think I'm being a bit harsh, or do you think it's fair?
No, weakest part of his game. Weakest part of his game. Got to score more goals. I think it will come in time, because I think he's a very, very good player. I think he knits a few things together. He knits a lot of stuff together. It's a difficult role to play, and he makes it look easy. So I look on that and go, well done. But ultimately, he gets into some very, very good positions and don't finish. A couple of times now, Crystal Palace, Tottenham, are two games that I can remember, ball going across, didn't hit him right. You know what I mean? And that didn't cost us against Tottenham because we was out of the game. But in the Crystal Palace game, we could have actually come back in that game if he'd have took his chances. Something that he's got to work on, but I think that he's an important part to the team. And if we are to win tonight, he is going to have to play well. He's going to be the one that's going to have to be right on his game. And let's just hope that he is tonight. Let's just hope that he is.
Yeah, we really do need him. let's talk about Ramsdale, because there's a lot of people saying at the moment that hi Lynn, by the way. There's a lot of people talking about Ramsdale as perhaps getting a little bit cocky, a little bit nervy, making some mistakes, distribution not as good at times, rushing his kicking, a little bit rash. We saw him against Jared Bowen making rash decisions. This reminds me at the moment, Lee, a little bit like Wojciech Szczesny. I think I mentioned it the other week with you. Do you remember when Szczesny
Mm.
came on the scene? He was loved. Everybody loved him. He connected with the fans. Everyone thought he was going to be great, young, real promising, high ceiling. And then he just got a little bit cocky and was trying to take it round players, doing step overs, putting us at risk. And then his attitude got the better of him, and obviously he moved on. And he's still playing, I believe, at Juventus and doing very well. But I don't want that to happen with Ramsdale. I feel like he needs to keep his feet on the ground and recognise where he is and what he's doing at the moment, because he's had a great first half of the season. Second half of the season, people are saying they're a little bit more nervy and they're questioning him. And I think he needs to turn back round now, because I don't want to see this cockiness get the better of him. And there's a difference between confidence and arrogance in football, and I think there's a fine line. So what's your thoughts on Ramsdale, mate?
Yeah, I'm totally with you on this. I think he's done very, very well this season. But I just think since that England call up, there's just been a little bit of arrogance in him, like, you know. And I think that I'm not like too heavily concerned. I think that he just needs. I think, you know, when you're playing as he is at the moment, he needs a couple of clean sheets. He definitely needs a clean sheet in the next one today. If he can get one today, that would be a big boost for him. I don't think he's been playing that bad. I think the last couple of games he's just reined it in a little bit, if I'll be honest. But for tonight, he has got to be on his game, Dan. He's got to be, without a shadow of doubt, he's got to be back to that Ramsdale we know at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he has to be, and I have confidence in this goalkeeper because I think that he has a lot of ability. I think that his shot stopping's great. I like his command of his area. I do like his mentality. I just worry sometimes that it might turn a little bit to cockiness and arrogance, and that might get the better of him. I think his distribution can be superb, but certainly at the moment he's rushing through things. He's been quite rash. I think his discipline's been a little bit off, particularly in that West Ham game I'm thinking about. Sometimes when he rushes his kicking, it can go wrong and give it to the opposition. And I've seen that a few times towards the year of 2022, and I just need to see him revert his form back, because it was a player that, hands down, along with Tomiyasu, was probably one of the signings of the season, not just at Arsenal. I thought he was absolutely outstanding, particularly with saves against Leicester, world-class saves he's made this season. And I think along with Tomiyasu, we've seen two players that have probably proved a lot of the fan base wrong, that judged who were these players and why were they coming in at the Arsenal. And I think they're two players that have definitely proved people wrong, and I like players like that, I really do. So need to see that from Aaron Ramsdale. I need to talk a little bit about what the tonight means. It sounds stupid saying that because we all know what it means, but what I'm getting at is, in terms of Mikel Arteta, there's going to be a lot of people getting on the bandwagon again, saying, is he going to stay? Is he not going to stay? I think we all know and can confirm now, Lee, that this just is not the case anymore. He's staying whatever. If we finish fifth and we're outside of Spurs, it will be a disappointment, but he's staying whatever. Now, whether you agree with that and think that's the right decision, tough, basically, because he's staying. So what I want to get out of this now, Lee, is if we can secure, let's just be positive, if we can secure top four, he, in my opinion, and I said it the other night, has done more than I expected. I don't want the guy here. I don't like him, and I've been very, very vocal about that for 2 years, and I'm sure it's got on people's nerves. But you have to hold your hands up and say, fair play, Champions League football, next season, back in the summer, and we go again and we progress from there. I want to know your thoughts on what happens if we secure Champions League, and then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about what might happen if we don't get it. So your thoughts positively if we do get Champions League football this season on what Martet has done this year.
Right, let's say that we're going to. I believe that he's going to, and I will look back on it and I will turn around and say, in a difficult season, which has been a bit up and down, when it mattered, he proved himself when he got us the job done. And if you look on that and don't back him after that, then I think that, you know, you need to have a look at yourself. I think, if I'll be honest, if you can, when you look at the beginning of the season, no one expected us to get top four. If he was to get top four, I think he's done a fantastic job. And whether you like him or not, you have to get behind the manager and what he's done, because of what he has done. It would be an unbelievable achievement if he's done it. What I would say in the positives of that, there's loads of positives in that. Like the football has got a lot better and everything like that. But it's thin lines, Dan. Thin lines in football. You know what I mean? Like between success and failure. If he gets this, I think it's fantastic. If he doesn't get it, I think, you know, that he'll be in a job next season, guaranteed. But a couple of bad results next season and things turn. And for me, that is why it's so important we win this game here, because I don't want to be going through all that again. Like, you know, at the end of it, he's probably messed it up. If we people will look at it, and I'm going to be really honest. Let's talk about if we don't get there. You know, 4 defeats out of 4 wins, out of 10 on a run of trying to win it is not good enough. When you look at last season, I think he won the last 10, but why? No pressure on it this season. Like, you know what I mean? And so I just think that these 2 games now are so big in the future of Mikel Arteta and also Arsenal, because if he gets it, I think everybody goes on board. The ones that are on the fence, and there's a lot of people who are like, you know, are not convinced. I'm one of them that's not absolutely 100% convinced in him yet. I think if he was to win tonight and win on Sunday, that tells me a lot. Today, I'm really looking at Mikel Arteta. Today, I've actually said it. You know, I believe in him that he's going to do it, but this is the time. You know what I mean? This is when he proves it today. These 2 games will tell me all I need to know about Mikel Arteta. If we don't do it, I will look back on it and go, look, 3 games left, 4 points clear, and you don't see out Champions League football. How are you going to see it out any time? Because I don't care if you have another 6 new players next season. If you're in this opportunity to get top 4, you should get it with the players that you've got. I felt that there was mistakes made on Thursday. Don't make the same mistakes today. Get the job done. And I can tell you that now, if he does get the job done, the pressure, Dan, is completely off going into next season. We can have a nice summer, relax, and whatever it will be, will be. But if Arsenal don't do it, this goes on to next season. Like, you know, a little bit like the Emery situation of last season. Fans will not be happy about it, and you cannot sugarcoat it. You know what I mean? I can't stand it when people turn around and say, "Oh, well, you take this after 3 games and all that." Like, yes, I would take it after 3 games, and I'm not going to take it with the 3 games left and there's 4 points and we blow it. You know what I mean? You can look at it both ways. Ultimately, we've got ourselves into this position. Forget about what's gone on in the first 3 games and whatever like that. It's come down to it. It's been a shootout between Conte and Arteta. Let's be honest. Conte and Arteta. One team sacked their manager, right? The other team backed him, right? So it comes down to it, who that, you know what I mean? And like, I'm hoping that football prevails and the club that's backed their manager survives, you know what I mean? Like, and gets the job done. But ultimately, if they don't, you will look back on it and say that Spurs ultimately got it because they were ruthless and Arsenal wasn't, you know what I mean? And that's how I look at it. But this is a massive, massive game for Mikel tonight, you know what I mean? I'm just hoping and praying that he'll do it, because it's going to be a big kick in the teeth if we don't. It's a massive kick in the teeth if we don't.
Yeah, it is going to be devastating. So I'm trying not to think that way. But tonight needs to be 3 points. But Lee, if it does go wrong for us, are we going to look back at 2 things? I want to get your opinions on it, because this is mine. If we don't do this, I don't really look at the Spurs result. I don't really look at Old Trafford. I don't really look at Liverpool City. I look at all of those away games that we attended that we couldn't pick anything up against. I look at that little run against Palace, Southampton and Brighton. I look at Brentford at the start of the season, not preparing us ready in time for the start of the season. Everton away, when I think they'd lost, 14 games or hadn't won in 14. All of a sudden, Arsenal come to town. Boom, they win a game. All those results are going to come into play. I don't think it is going to matter for Newcastle, Everton. I think it's more. I think it's deeper than that. It's been a kind of consistency throughout this season of, oh, we're now winning, oh, we're now losing again. And we need to next season, when Arteta stays, because he's going to whatever, iron those out massively. The other thing that comes into play, and you've touched on it towards the end there, is Antonio Conte. The reason that that Antonio Conte was the right manager for Spurs is because they needed somebody to come in who was a winner, come in and get them winning games of football. And that's exactly what he did. Now, what you do with that is also you add on Bentancur, Romero coming back from injury, Kulusevski and Kane and Son now firing. And that will essentially be the reason as to why Tottenham get top four, because they got the manager appointment right. Similarly to Thomas Tuchel coming in at Chelsea and changing things from Frank Lampard, it will be very similar from Conte coming in and changing things from Nuno Espirito Santos. So let's hope it doesn't go down to that, but I think a lot of people will be pointing the fingers at the management other than the players. Having said that, I do think we've got injury problems at the moment, and I do think that has to be taken into consideration. But having said that, this is football, and you can get injuries, and in January we did nothing to bulk up our squad whatsoever. And having said that as well, we got rid of players. We didn't replace them. Callum Chambers could have come in and done a job for a couple of games of late. And Ainsley Maitland-Niles could have also. You look at Pablo Mari over at Udinese. We're struggling at centre-backs at the moment. So all these decisions are on the management and Edu. And if it does fall short, then a lot of the blame or fingers will be pointing towards them too, I'm sure. So Lee, if it gets to a stage, we talked about us, we know what's going to happen when we do. We think it's a great season, Champions League football. If it gets to the stage where it doesn't happen, do you think those things will come into play in terms of our poor runs of forms throughout this league season? And also Antonio Conte just being that elite manager that perhaps we need and perhaps haven't got yet?
Listen, in football, it's, there's also a lot of luck involved then, you know what I mean? Let's get this right, you know what I mean? Decisions went Tottenham's way yesterday. Whether you like we're saying Conte, you're saying Song, you're saying Kane, Burnley were all over them yesterday, like, you know what I mean? And when we played Burnley in a 0-0 draw, we never had a penalty given to us, you know what I mean? We just had to battle for a 0-0, like, and sometimes that happens, like, I get everything else what you're saying there with Conte. He's done a good job and to getting them where they are, but ultimately, our Arsenal have gone toe to toe with them at this moment in time. There's nothing between the two teams, if I'll be honest. I look at Spurs and I think that, I actually looked at Spurs yesterday and I said, my God, they're not a good side. They're not a good side, but they've ground out results for whatever way you want to look at that. There's reasons for it. I think that they've been very, very fortunate with a couple of penalties in their last couple of games. But from our point of view, I think that maybe we'll look back on it in that January transfer. I don't think it's anything to do with the managers and all that, because I think look on it. If I'll be honest with Conte, people keep saying, they're guaranteed. They went to Middlesbrough and lost in the FA Cup, with Conte in charge. I just think that they probably just done a good bit of business in January and we didn't. If I look back on it, if I really look back on it and think maybe Arsenal,
great point,
should have done a little bit more business in Jet. I think that we cut our cough accordingly, made some cutbacks. For instance, I think Chambers, may have come into these Arsenal. Forget ever what you think about Chambers and whatever you want to know about. But ultimately, I remember him coming in against Liverpool and doing superbly well in the League Cup game. I'd rather have somebody like that than a novice in there, do you know what I mean? Or playing a Granit Xhaka at central defence today because we haven't got no one. So I just think at the end of it, we just made a couple of little mistakes along the way there, But ultimately, I want to finish with a positive, and I want to put it in a positive spirit. With all of those things in the bag, everything that Conte and Tottenham are doing, Tottenham's win against us on Thursday. We win these next two games, we get what we want. And I'm going to be really honest, Dan. Forget about the 3 games where people get on my nerves about that, really saying, we'll take that after 3 games or that, blah, blah, blah. I'll take a bit of that. The defeats against Southampton, the defeat against Brighton, the defeat against Crystal Palace, the wins against Chelsea, the wins against Leicester away from home, which is a difficult place to go. West Ham, as it's been proved, is a difficult place to go. All of those things it's just the way it all goes around. If you'd have said to me at the beginning of the season, forget about any the day the season kicks off, and I looked at the fixtures and it was said you need to win both games, Newcastle away, Everton at home, to secure Champions League football. Forget about any of the. I'm not seeing none of the results, none of the games before we even went to Brentford on that first game of the season. If someone would have said to me, you need 2 wins at the end of the season against Newcastle and Everton to secure top 4, would I take it there and then? I would have bit your hand off for it. And that is the position that we're in. So I'm looking at it very, very positively. I think that we'll go up to Newcastle Day, and you might think I'm stupid and you might think that I'm heading for a fall, but I think we'll win today, and I think we'll do it comfortably. I think that we're going to be you'll be surprised how well Arsenal play tonight. I think that we will turn up tonight and we will get the result.
I really hope you're right, mate, and I love the confidence and I love the optimism, and I think that you're right in saying that if you would have said to any Arsenal fan, win your last 2 games and it secures Champions League football, I think a lot of people would have bit your hands off. Certainly I would have. I predicted Arsenal to come around about 7th again this season because I didn't believe that Mikel Arteta was good enough. And if he's proven me wrong to show that he can get us into the Champions League, then I'll hold my hands up and say fair play. I'll eat that humble pie and I'll say fair play, Mikel Arteta. Let's see what we can do in the summer and move forward to progress us to where we want to be. Lee, before we do wrap up, I want to get a score prediction from you. You say you think we win comfortably tonight. So what are you going for, mate?
4-1.
4-1 to the Arsenal. Wow. I did not expect that to come out your mouth. So give me reasoning behind that, the judges. Come on.
I just think Arsenal are going to turn up tonight. I really do. You know what I mean? I just think that it's going to be a. I think we're either win 4. I know it's silly. We're 3-1, 2-0, or something like that. We either win it convincingly or we lose. You know what I mean? I just think that's how it is. Someone just put in the chat there on you don't know the defence. That's if Gabriel, by the way, is playing and Ben White's playing. You know what I mean? Like without, if they're fit, if things have changed, then maybe a little bit different. But I just think that Arsenal, do you know what? I'm going to say this now, and I know you might think I'm silly when I say this. I look at the game against Tottenham and Arsenal, and I watched it again when I got back. Tottenham wanted it more than us. And I know that sounds silly. You think, how can they want it more than us? It meant more to them to win that game than us. And I think that tonight it means more to us.
Well, it does, 100%. Newcastle ain't on the beach, as someone said earlier. Trust me, they're not. They're going to be playing for their places next season because that's going to be a massive shake-up in the summer. And also, it's their last home game of the season, and the crowd and fans probably feel like they deserve it, and Eddie Howe's been on fire. So I think they'll want to win their last home game of the season. Having said that, if you said who needs to win the game more, of course, Arsenal are the ones that are playing for it. Newcastle have got nothing to play for but their shirt. I do also understand where people are coming from when they use this term, but I don't like it. On the beach, I think you should be sacked. If you're on the beach, you're a professional footballer. You should want to win every single game. So I don't think you're ever go into a game thinking, let's just, rock up there, do our business. If we lose, we lose. We can come home and then celebrate at the end of it. But having said that, I do know that Arsenal need this more than Newcastle. I have a really bad feeling about tonight, judges, so I hope my score prediction is wrong and I hope that your score prediction is correct. I think we're going to fall short and I think it's going to be 1-1. I think it's going to be a really difficult game because I believe that Newcastle are on fire. They're a team that actually are quite difficult to break down, and also they're a team that made it very difficult for Liverpool and Manchester City at their place, and I think Liverpool only just about won 1-0, and that was a real tough game for them, and they had their best side out. So I think Newcastle are a different animal than they were when we last played them at the Emirates. I do feel, however, that if we do score early, and I said this against Spurs, that it can be a different game. This early goal for Arsenal seems to be a good thing, but it doesn't always happen, and it's going to be very difficult indeed. But I hope, obviously, that I'm wrong. I hope the judges that you are right, and let's see if we can take this to the last game, knowing that we just need to beat Everton at home and secure that Champions League football. Anything before we wrap up, judges? I'll let you have the last word.
No, I don't care if it's 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. 6-0, whatever.
3 points.
4-1. As long as we get the 3 points, that's all that matters today. Let's win the game. That's all.
Yeah, that is all. Guys, thanks so much for all of you for coming. We wanted to do a quick short preview show. 1,400 of you over that actually watching live. That is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Please smash the like button on your way out and pray for 3 points to the Arsenal. Until then, we'll see you next time to review the game and hope and pray that this top four race is still on going into Everton, knowing that if we win, we secure Champions League football. Take care, guys, and up the Arsenal.